A common strawman about Assassin's Creed 1 is that the game is repetitive, and because of that, it's automatically considered bad, as if repetition equals bad. Another critique says AC1 should be seen only as a product of its time, that it belongs in the past, and that anyone wanting to play should either wait for a rumored remake or just watch the story on YouTube, because trying to play it might be a death sentence from boredom after the introduction. In this video, I will show not only that the game still stands as a masterpiece, even more so compared to newer titles designed to appeal to the widest audience, but also how its core idea, being an assassin, is reinforced by the gameplay itself. Yes, even the repetition is deliberate, a part of the game's narrative design. I'm Recolt, your new favorite gaming channel, where we delve into the game's deepest themes that I like the most. Yes, the game is repetitive, and no, this doesn't mean it's bad. You probably just weren't in the mood to play it and thought the game was bad because of that. When I played AC1, it was at two different moments in my life. The first one was on PS3, and I didn't go too far, but I could see the potential and creativity of this game to immerse me in that world, to make me feel like Altair. The second time, I actually finished the game, and that was this past year on an Xbox Series S. I took my time with it, playing in shorter sessions, so when I play it, I advanced just a bit each day. Killing a target one day, the next day gathering all the information to kill the next, and only on the following day would I actually kill the guy. So I realized that the structure of the game was literally doing the same thing from beginning to end. You don't have a lot of character progression, although Altair relearns a few tricks as the game advances. So you might think, why then did you call it a strawman to attack the repetitiveness of the game? You jerk! The reason is deeper than you think. In both of those moments, there was a similarity in my mood, if I can put it that way, while playing the game. In both cases, I was distant from the franchise. I wasn't playing with another Assassin's Creed in mind, but I was genuinely curious to understand how one of my favorite franchises started, especially in the second playthrough, what I consider my actual playthrough. I understood what set this game apart from every future title. The essence of this game's gameplay is to be an assassin, a real-life assassin who takes on a mission to kill a target, but first has to do his research to determine the best way to approach his enemies. In the game's lore, it goes even further, since Altair is facing regional dictators and witnessing a face of evil he hadn't seen before. When he was a master assassin, before messing everything up in this game's intro, he only needed to execute his task and leave the background work to less important members of the order. But now he has to do almost everything alone. Sure, he has help from Brotherhood members, people who track the targets and point us in the right direction. But we still have to do the dirty work. We as players have to step into an assassin's shoes and perform repetitive tasks that even Altair is frustrated with at first. We have to listen, track and plan our assassination approach almost like a job, just as it is for Altair. What shines in doing all these activities, which may seem boring to some, is that if you let your guard down for a minute and stop comparing this game to Assassin's Creed 2 or any other, you can actually see how this game is about the concept of becoming an assassin, of becoming Altair himself. When you enter a group of scholars to bypass your enemies and strike your target, you are thinking like an assassin. When you sit on a public bench to listen to a conversation, you are acting like an assassin. When you kill a target and watch the cutscene with their confessions, and you as players start to question, just like Altair, what the purpose of this bloodshed is, and begin to consider whether your enemies might have a valid point, whether some of them, not all, are actually trying to help people, you are becoming Altair. And when you return to your Grandmaster and start asking questions, searching for a reason behind all of this, thinking beyond what you were told, the man you must kill, the way you must do it, and the answers you are not supposed to have because Altair himself had never asked them until this point in his life, you are just as much as a character as Altair is in this game. There's a beauty in this game's narrative. Desmond is in a modern cage, but he has the freedom to think. Altair has Acre, Jerusalem, and Damascus, and all the freedom to do as he wants, yet he's still a small-minded man, trapped in dogmas he never questioned before. And when we embark on this journey with him, We begin, just like him, to ask our own questions, to question our leadership, and to shape a new point of view alongside Altair. And just as Desmond is united with Altair through the animals to find answers, we, as players, become Altair, as we are forced to repeat the same things, the same tasks, activities, and executions, with slight variations between each target, such as their objectives and their methods of carrying out evil. Because of the repetition in the gameplay loop, we are pushed to notice those differences. It becomes easier to observe what changes once you recognize the pattern, and that's where the narrative proves itself to be brilliant and, as I said at the beginning of the video, a masterpiece. Don't you see? All of this only works because of the repetition. Without it, we wouldn't recognize the patterns, we wouldn't notice the strange details in the story, and we wouldn't begin questioning, alongside Altair, the Grand Master of the Assassin Order, about the reasons behind all of this. The game functions the way it does precisely because it commits to that repetition. Am I saying everything in this game is perfect? Oh hell nah! I don't consider the Thousand King Richard flags a good game design choice, and the time-related challenges aren't either. Both are just goofy, especially the flags. What I'm sure of is that what makes these games distinct from any other is that it's a focused experience, not a blockbuster like the newer titles. It's a sci-fi experience based on DNA memory and heritage, and the entire gameplay derives from that core idea. In many games we have a great story and great gameplay that don't really communicate with each other. That's not necessarily a problem, it's just an observation, because I don't think art has to follow a rule to be considered good, as long as it is good art. It's a mathematical formula, where B is inside A, but B does not cause A. In AC1, B is generated by A, where A, the story, truly causes B. So everything you do, aside from the two activities I mentioned earlier, is a way of playing the story itself in a unique form. And this is where people misunderstand what repetition is doing here. They look at the checklist and see same mission structure from beginning to end, but they don't stop to ask what that structure is trying to simulate. Yes, you gather information. Yes, you climb viewpoints. Yes, you interrogate, pickpocket, eavesdrop, return to burial, and finally execute your target, over and over again. What first felt mechanical begins to feel intentional. One thing that's peculiar about this game is the opportunity you have to design your execution approach. The more intel you gather, the better your plan can be. If you know the archer's locations, you can come up with something smarter to kill your target. Nothing like what Assassin's Creed Unity does, it's a prototype really, but enhances the feeling of immersion that is essential to this game. Each mission may follow the same skeleton, but the flash is different every single time. Each target occupies the city in a distinct way. They speak differently, they justify themselves differently, they position guards differently, and because the structure is stable, you are forced to notice those differences, sharpening your perception. When you enter a district filled with sick or dying people, it's not there just to be grim or serious. It's directly connected to the theme of that region and to the target you are about to face. That's a subtle gameplay feature that Ubisoft never abandoned, and I'm glad they didn't. These are the main reasons why this game shouldn't be seen merely as a product of its time, but rather as a gem of its time that aged like wine, despite some flaws. And when it comes to becoming Altair, the best description of that feeling is the leap of faith itself. When you climb a tower, almost feeling the wind, thinking in the back of your mind how dangerous it would be to do something like that in real life, only to be rewarded with a breathtaking view, feeling just as the protagonist feels. The most accurate description of this moment is actually found in the book Secret Crusade, which says, "A sense of exaltation passed through him. He'd forgotten how beautiful cities looked from such a height. He'd forgotten how he felt, looking down upon them from their highest points. In those moments, he felt released." Walling had been right. For years now, Altair targets had been located for him. He would be told where to go and when. His job to kill, nothing more, nothing less. He hadn't realized it, but he had missed the thrill of what it really meant to be an assassin, which wasn't bloodshed and death. it was what was to be found inside. This game is a focused experience that knew exactly what it wanted to be. It has flaws, yes, like I said, some design choices didn't age well, but the core of it, the intention behind its structure, the way gameplay and narrative are intertwined, still stands. If you approach it expecting a modern experience with non-stop action or constant dopamine hits to keep you playing, you might miss it. But if you approach it willingly to slow down, to observe, to repeat, and to think alongside Altair, there's something here that very few games attempt, and even fewer fully commit to. If you enjoyed this perspective, consider subscribing to the channel and giving a like to the video. I'm building this space to talk about games in a deeper way, looking at design, themes, and the ideas behind them. I also have a Patreon, it's completely free to join, and there you can follow the process behind these videos and see early drafts, ideas, and how each project comes together. And if you ever feel like supporting the channel financially, there are categories you can subscribe to. It helps more than you think, and it allows me to keep making this kind of content. I also opened a Substack, it's in the description, so feel free to follow me if you want. Thank you for watching this video, and God bless you all.